There's a question therapists use to spot trauma survivors in under a minute, and it has nothing to do with your past. It's this. Can you tell when someone's mood changes before they say a word? If you just thought, wait, doesn't everyone? No, they can't. Brain studies show your pain built you a detection system most humans will never own. Here are the 5 signs, and number 1 explains why strangers confess their secrets to you. Quick disclaimer before the comment section sharpens its pitchforks. This isn't the astrology version of empathy. We're not doing crystals today. We're doing peer-reviewed studies, brain scans, and the mildly uncomfortable science of why suffering sometimes builds better humans. Let's count it down. Number 5. You read rooms like other people read text messages. You walk into a room and before anyone says a word, you already know the couple by the window just had a fight. Your boss is pretending everything's fine, and Greg from accounting is 1 email away from a breakdown. Poor Greg. Here's the twist nobody tells you. This isn't magic, it's training. Researchers call it hypervigilance, and it's what happens when a developing brain learns that reading moods fast is a survival skill. If you grew up around unpredictable emotions, your brain essentially ran facial recognition software on hard mode for years. Studies on children from high-stress environments consistently show enhanced threat detection. They identify angry expressions faster and from more subtle cues than their peers. And here's the freakiest part. In landmark research by Seth Pollak at the University of Wisconsin, children exposed to abuse recognized angry faces from incomplete, degraded images, needing far less visual information than other kids. Your brain doesn't wait for the full picture. It reconstructs the storm from a single pixel. That's not paranoia. That's pattern mastery. So while everyone else was learning piano, you were accidentally getting a PhD in micro-expressions. Congratulations. Worst scholarship ever. Best skill ever. The catch? A smoke detector that's too sensitive goes off when you make toast. The real empath isn't the one whose alarm never stops screaming. It's the one who learned to check whether there's an actual fire. If you've made that transition, that's not anxiety anymore. That's calibrated perception, and it took pain to build it. Number 4, other people's emotions physically land in your body. Someone tells you their bad news, and your stomach drops like it happened to you. You watch a stranger get embarrassed on TV, and you have to leave the room. Physically, leave the room. Science has a name for this. Emotional contagion, a phenomenon psychologists Elaine Hatfield and colleagues have documented for decades. Humans automatically mimic and synchronize with the expressions and postures of people around them, and that mimicry produces real, matching feelings. In most people, it's a whisper. In you, it's surround sound. Want proof it's physical, not imaginary? Neuroscientist Tania Singer's famous fMRI experiments found that watching a loved one feel pain activates parts of the brain's own pain network. The anterior insula and anterior cingulate cortex light up as if the pain were yours. Your body isn't being dramatic. It's running someone else's experience on your hardware. And here's where it gets interesting. In 2018, researchers Greenberg, Baron-Cohen, and colleagues published a study in PLOS ONE with a title that should be a movie, Elevated Empathy in Adults Following Childhood Trauma. They surveyed over 1,000 people and found that adults who reported childhood trauma scored significantly higher on both emotional and cognitive empathy than those who didn't. Not the same, higher. Read that again. The thing that was supposed to shut you down apparently installed extra software. The researchers suggested trauma may sensitize people to others' suffering precisely because they know, at a cellular 3 a.m. staring at the ceiling level, what suffering costs. You're not too much. You're high definition in a world broadcasting in 480p.
Number 3. You became the unpaid therapist of every group you've ever joined. Strangers tell you their divorce stories in elevators. Baristas confess to you. You have never once asked for this. And yet, beep, here comes another, "Hey, can I vent?" text. Why you? Psychologists studying self-disclosure find that people open up to those who signal safety. Steady attention, non-judgment, no rush to fix. And guess who mastered those signals early? Often by being the person who kept the peace at home. Trauma researchers like Pete Walker call the extreme version the fawn response, soothing others as a defense mechanism. Now, here's the line between wounded and empath, and it matters. The wounded version listens because they're afraid of what happens if they don't. The real empath listens because they choose to, and can also say, I love you, but I have exactly 0 emotional bandwidth today. Try Wednesday. If you've learned that sentence, if no has entered your vocabulary without a 3-day guilt hangover, that's the upgrade. Compassion with boundaries isn't less compassion, it's compassion that survives. Number 2, your pain turned into a weirdly specific radar for other people's hidden pain. You can spot the person who's fine, but not fine, from across a parking lot. The friend whose haha, all good text has a wound behind it. You see them because you were them. Psychologists Richard Tedeschi and Lawrence Calhoun spent decades documenting something called post-traumatic growth, the well-replicated finding that a majority of trauma survivors report positive psychological change afterward, deeper relationships, greater compassion, a changed sense of what matters, not instead of the pain, because of what they built from it. One of the 5 core domains of post-traumatic growth? Relating to others, increased closeness and compassion. In other words, science quietly confirmed what every grandmother already knew. The people who've been through hell make the best lighthouses. But, and this is the part most videos skip, growth isn't automatic. Suffering alone just makes you tired. It's suffering plus reflection plus meaning that produces the empath. Pain is the raw material. You were the factory. Give yourself the credit. Number 1, people calm down just by being around you, and they trust you absurdly fast. This is the big one, the tell. Strangers exhale near you. Kids gravitate to you. Anxious friends say things like, I don't know why, but I can think clearly around you. Here's the mechanism, and it's beautiful. Emotional contagion works in both directions. The same wiring that lets you absorb a room's panic lets you broadcast calm back into it. Research on physiological synchrony shows that people in close interaction literally co-regulate. Heart rates and stress responses align between individuals. A regulated nervous system is contagious. And who has done more reps at self-regulation than someone who spent years managing storms? First other people's, then their own. Every panic you talked yourself down from, every night you survived, every trigger you learned to breathe through, that was training. Now your calm is load-bearing. People lean on it before they even know why. That's the final sign and the real definition. An empath isn't someone who feels everything. It's someone who felt everything, learned what to do with it, and became the safe place they never had. The takeaway. So, no, your sensitivity isn't a design flaw. The scans say otherwise. The studies say otherwise. Your pain didn't make you fragile. It made you fluent in a language most people never have to learn. The only remaining assignment? Point some of that world-class empathy at the one person you keep skipping. Yes, that one. The one in the mirror. If at least 3 of these signs hit uncomfortably close, tell me in the comments which number called you out personally. And send this to the friend who's everyone's therapist. They will say, lol, stop. They will also watch it twice.